Through the Capitol, everybody's screaming, everyone's crying. So what's the occasion? Well, Congresswoman Omar got voted off the Foreign Affairs Committee.
The question is on adoption of the resolution. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those in favor say no. No. It's the opinion of the chair that the ayes have it and the resolution is agreed to, and without objection, the motion to reconsider is laid on the table.
Does that remind you of anything? McCarthy yanked Omar off Foreign Affairs to pay back Pelosi for yanking his people off committees.
You can feel it instantly. Tension so thick it's almost theatrical. Voices cracking, emotions spilling. All over a committee seat, not a bill, not a policy. And it makes you ask, when did politics start prioritizing performance over real accountability? What happened with Ilhan Omar isn't random. It's a glimpse into how power is traded and staged in Washington. And the real eye-opener? It's not the noise. It's what that noise is trying to distract you from. Stay with me on this, because once you see it, you can't really unsee it.
Omar laughed that Americans speak of al-Qaeda in a menacing tone and remarked that you don't say America with this intensity. You say al-Qaeda makes you proud. Al-Qaeda makes you proud. You don't speak that way about America. And at a press conference just this week, when asked whether she supported al-Qaeda, that's our enemy. That's our enemy. They are a very serious problem that we take care of, but they always seem to come along somewhere. She refused to answer. She didn't want to give an answer to that question. Omar blamed the United States for the crisis in Venezuela. I mean, think of that one. And she looks down with contempt on the hard-working Americans, saying that ignorance is pervasive in many parts of this country. And obviously and importantly, Omar has a history of launching vicious anti-Semitic screeds.
Committees. He didn't want to do it, doesn't think it's right, but he had to do it. You can't let Democrats boot your boys off committees and turn the other cheek. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. Let's just not let it happen again. Swalwell and Schiff got the boot from Intel because they're liars, leakers, and Chinese spy sleepers. And Elon got axed because of anti-Semitism. She called Israel evil and said, Jews, it's all about the money. But Omar says she loves Jews, and she had no idea there was a thing with Jews and money.
I certainly did not or was not aware that the word hypnotize was a trope. I wasn't aware of the fact that there are tropes about Jews and money. That has been a very enlightening part of this journey.
Number two, frankly, I don't know why the president felt the need to tweet on this subject at all. When you argue with a fool, you just prove there are two. And I consider Congresswoman Omar, Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez, Congresswoman Tlaib, Congresswoman Presley, I think is her name. They call themselves the Squad. I consider them to be fools.
I think Adam Schiff's Jewish. He's looking at her like, that's like me telling dumb blonde jokes and Dana getting upset. And I say, Dana, I never knew people tease blondes about their brains. Even I couldn't play that dumb. And it's easy for me. So 2 white guys got stripped and then a Muslim woman. So how does AOC see it? Omar was fired because of 9/11.
As a fellow New Yorker, I think one of the things that we should talk about here is also one of the disgusting legacies after 9/11 has been the targeting and racism against Muslim Americans throughout the United States of America. And this is an extension of that legacy.
Whoa! So some people did some things to Omar, and that's racist. And if the race
founded after 9/11 because they recognized that some people did something and that all of us were starting to lose access to our civil liberties.
And if the racist Republicans don't shut up, the squad is going to die.
Consistency, there is nothing consistent with the Republican Party's continued attack except for the racism and incitement of violence against women of color in this body. I had a member of the Republican caucus threaten my life, and you all and the Republican caucus rewarded him with one of the most prestigious committee assignments in this Congress. This is about targeting women of color in the United States of America. Don't tell me, because I didn't get a single apology when my life was threatened. Thank you.
I'm in a town where we have a lot of people who are refugees who have come, some from Somalia, some from Bosnia. I've never heard one of them say that America's a terrible place or be unappreciative of our country. Most of them are thankful. I've met people who have come here from behind the Iron Curtain that got away from communism. They're some of the best Americans we have because they really appreciate how great our country is. And then I hear Representative Omar say, "Oh, America's a terrible place. I'd love there to be justice, and there's no justice here." It's like, well, she came here and we fed her, we clothed her, she got welfare, she got school, she got health care, and then lo and behold, she has the honor of actually winning a seat in Congress, and she says we're a terrible country. I think that's about as ungrateful as you can get. And so while I'm not saying we forcibly send her anywhere, I'm willing to contribute to buy her a ticket to go visit Somalia. And I think she could look and maybe learn a little bit about the disaster that is Somalia, that has no capitalism, has no God-given rights guaranteed in a constitution, and has about 7 different tribes that have been fighting each other for the last 40 years. And then maybe after she's visited Somalia for a while, she might come back and
Whoa! I haven't seen AOC that angry since somebody called her a big booty Latina.
See this guy right there? Right there. When I was walking up, he said, "Hey," right in front of a Capitol Police officer, said, "Hey, here's this, look at that big ass, look at that big juicy booty, this Latina," like whatever, you know, all the bunch of racist, sexist stuff.
This was only the beginning. Apparently, Omar losing a committee seat was worse than January 6th.
Republicans are waging a blatantly Islamophobic and racist attack on Congresswoman Omar. And I've said it before, I will say it again. The white supremacy happening is unbelievable. This is despicable. This is just a bunch of racist gaslighting.
Could it be the way that she looks?
Time is expired.
Could it be her religious practices?
This clearly isn't about what Ilhan Omar said as much as who she is. Being a smart, outspoken black woman of a Muslim faith is apparently the issue.
The GOP is now doing what it is best at, weaponizing hate against a black, beautiful Muslim woman. They turn Congress into a place of fear-mongering hate. It is so painful to watch.
The racism was so strong, it brought the squad to tears.
You are showing who you all are, really.
The gentlewoman's time has expired.
Omar will not be silenced.
The gentlewoman's time has expired.
To Congressman Omar, I am so sorry, sis, that our country is failing you today through this chamber. You belong in that committee.
The gentlewoman is no longer
You belong in that committee. Have you ever seen Democrats cry for their constituents who get shot? Have you ever seen Democrats cry when the cartels poison our people? People are getting pushed into subway tracks, but this gets Democrats upset. You get fired and they don't bat an eye, but the squad gets fired and they cry. This tells you everything you need to know about these people. It's all about them. It's not about you. It's about their power, their perks, their places on committee. Where was that emotion when the terrorists were blowing up our Marines in Afghanistan? Or when moms were scrambling for baby formula? Well, Omar closed out the show, and I'm going to go out on a limb here, and I'm just going to guess that Omar reminded us that she's a Muslim immigrant from Africa.
Well, I am Muslim. I am an immigrant, and interestingly, from Africa. Is anyone surprised that I am being targeted? Is anyone surprised that I am somehow deemed unworthy to speak about American foreign policy? Or that they see me as a powerful voice that needs to be silenced?
Omar is not just a congresswoman. She tells us she is a global citizen, and people around the world celebrate her accomplishments. We don't know what those accomplishments are, but if you listen closely, the world is clapping.
My leadership and voice will not be diminished if I am not on this committee for one term. My voice will get...
Watching this unfold, it feels less like governance and more like theater. Kevin McCarthy removes Ilhan Omar from the Foreign Affairs Committee, and suddenly the chamber is shaking with emotion. Voices cracking, tears flowing, outrage spilling everywhere, all over a committee seat. And here's the first thing to recognize. This didn't happen randomly. This is political payback. Democrats had removed Republicans like Adam Schiff and Eric Swalwell from key roles before, and now Republicans are returning the favor. Washington runs on precedent, retaliation, and the careful trading of power, and that's exactly what we're seeing. But the bigger story, the reaction. Ocasio-Cortez and others frame this as racism, Islamophobia, even tying it back to 9/11s. Those are serious accusations. And bias in Congress is real. But when every criticism is treated as oppression, the weight of accountability starts to fade. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Criticism wasn't about Omar's identity. It was about what she said. Her past remarks about Israel and Jewish people happened, and she addressed them herself. Yet the focus shifts to emotion over accountability. And the scale of that emotion is striking. Losing a committee seat sparks more drama than real crisis Americans face every day: rising crime, inflation, healthcare struggles. That gap is glaring. Omar leans into her identity, Muslim, African immigrant, and asks if anyone is surprised she's being targeted. Powerful, yes, but it moves the spotlight from core accountability. At the end of the day, this is not just about policy. It's about narrative, emotion, and control. Both sides play the game, but right now, one side is leaning hard on spectacle as a shield. Voters are watching, and they're asking, is this about serving the country or protecting power? Because when the cameras turn off, that's the only thing that really matters.